Our final honoree is Denise Walsh, an Alumni Fellow from the School of Business. Denise lives in Topeka, where she is Vice President of Global Tax for Revlon Incorporated. She is responsible for Revlon's global tax function and interacts with other senior leaders, tax authorities, and accounting firms. Prior to that, she worked nearly 20 years for Colgate-Palmolive, most recently as controller and previously as the director of global tax for Hills Division. Friends and colleagues commented on her kindness and professionalism. Thomas Hare said, "There are few people with your combination of energy, humor, intelligence, integrity, and compassion." Victoria Dolan said, "Our paths have taken us on many routes, from the boardroom to a rooftop balcony in Brazil. It has been a great adventure, replete with stories. No matter the company or the assignment, you leave a legacy of value creation." Richard Winkowski said, "Your greatest strength has been your talent to encourage others to achieve their best." Denise's daughter, Nia, said, "Washburn University's history is richer for having you in it." Denise has served on the board of the Topeka American Red Cross, the Topeka Community Foundation Investment Committee, and the Topeka Credit Counseling Agency. She won the National Hispanic Corporate Achievement Award and was a YWCA Women of Excellence honoree. Chris Rouse said of Denise, "You have inspired me and other women by showing us you can have it all. It takes hard work and a lot of dedication, but it can be done." Washburn School of Business Dean David Soller said, "You are the consummate professional, articulate, driven, but also very caring. When you were with Hills, you always had a Washburn intern or two, many of whom have gone on to great careers. You are a great exemplar of Washburn's motto, non nobis solum." Denise, on behalf of the Washburn Alumni Association and School of Business, we are pleased to honor you a Washburn Alumni Fellow.
It is so special to look and see so many good friends here. I can have lots of stories, and I feel very humbled that you all somehow driven and have gone a long way to be here with me, and I'm very honored about you being here today. I have to tell you that when David Sollers called me and said he was going to name me a fellow, I said, "Isn't that a criminal?" I did not know what he was talking about. So he, knowing me, could tell, he said, "You don't know what that is, do you?" And I said, "You." So he then explained to me what this was, and listening and hearing about all the other fellows. I don't know how did I get into the club. I am just very humbled to be chosen to be here. And today I had the opportunity to go to class, and to actually see in the classroom that I used to sit in, and they were talking about finals, and I looked at the seat I used to sit in and studying for finals, right? And education and everything to me. I don't come from a wealthy background. I grew up in Brazil, and I'm very humbled that my mother, my 88-year-old mother, is here. Many challenges I've had from coming to the U.S. when I was 19. How I ended up at Washburn. Why Washburn? I actually picked Washburn out of a map. If you look at a map, Kansas is in the middle of the U.S. And I had lived in other states in the U.S. and I grew up watching Gunsmoke. And I'm like, California wasn't it. Neither was Utah or Arizona. So I said, why not? Why not Topeka? Why not Washburn University? And literally moved here without ever knowing anyone. Supposed to be a temporary move, and this is many years later. I have moved away with my career, and yet my husband is here. We've lived all over the world, and whenever we could go on vacation, right here we are in Europe, we could go anywhere. Where do you want to go on vacation? We look at each other and we say, let's just go home. We would come to Topeka. So you know that is where your heart is when That's where your friends are, the values you grew up with. And the things that I love the most about Washington University, I was not a traditional student. When I graduated, my youngest son, who's actually here, walked with me. He was 5 days old. And I was a mother while I was in school. And yeah, Washburn did not make me feel less than, or that I could accomplish less, because I had chosen to have a family also, and have a career. And I did that because I was able to, because my mother, again, not only was able to help me make it as somebody growing up in Brazil, I was born premature, and literally she helped me make it, but she was also able to come and help me raise my children. So I have a daughter that's not actually here, but I remember one time my daughter, they were in teenage years, and I was crazy enough to have them close together, so I had teenagers at the same time. My daughter said to me, I love grandma more than you. To what I said, oh my God, I'm so relieved because I've loved her more than you guys for years. We're all in the same boat. And she has been someone that has been able to survive with me and values my family that are priceless. And has been able to help me see that the value of work is not just a paycheck. It's how you go about doing your job and making sure you respect people and see the preciousness of the people you're working with. I'm very happy to see that two of my children are here, and they both went one to Washburn back, and one also has a bachelor's degree at Washburn, so the legacy is passing on. And the love of my life is here, my husband, who you have to have a very strong husband to put up with a wife like me, right? Because we're flying all over the world and doing all sorts of amazing things, and yet he has been able to not only be with me, but he's someone that I couldn't be prouder of. And he's a law enforcement, which really helps when the kids were doing anything. I could definitely say your dad can kill you and get away with it. I'm really not if I were guys. When I look around and I think about the past and how I got here, right? When I was in school, like I said, we were right before the 150-hour requirement. So I knew that if you sat for the CPA exam then, you didn't have to go for a bachelor's degree. And I didn't have money to go for a master's degree, so I wanted to go ahead and sit for my bachelor's degree. What kind of school was Washburn? Dr. Tom Clappinger was telling me I was going to have to sit for the bachelor's course. Well, I couldn't afford the bachelor's course. So he came to me one day and he gave me a free membership to a software program. He says, they need to test the software that actually trains you for the CPA exam. And I subscribed you so you could be one of the testers for free, right? And sure enough, I sat for the CPA exam my last semester without ever taking an upper division course, and I passed. So how good is Washburn? It's good enough that I passed the CPA exam in my first course without even finishing my bachelor's degree. Then I went to school for Hills, and I was fortunate enough to have someone work for me that hired me, who's here, Ricky Mokowski, and saw something in me that I didn't know and I didn't see it myself. And the lesson that I learned then, and I told my students today that I talked to, is that he taught me that I wasn't just a tax accountant, I was a business person that did taxes, which is a different kind of skill. And I have taken that to heart in my career. It has made a huge difference. Understanding what the company really does, understanding the language of the company you work with. And it's really not about tax, it's about business. And yes, you do have tax laws, because after all, who wants to do tax for a living, right? That's where fun goes to die. So I definitely have a lot of fun, and I am in taxation every day. But it's because it's not tax, it's the employees. It's the ability to also see others get to believe in themselves, which is priceless. I see some of the people that I'm working with now, some of the people that have worked for me before, and I always say the boss is like you, it's great, but the people that work for you, they really know you, right? And I'm very humbled that you guys are here. I thank you for making the effort to come. You always, in my heart, you guys know we have amazing stories to talk about. And if I had told anybody, right, 20 years ago, 26 years ago, when I was in class, could I ever have mapped this career? Never. Never. And one story about Washburn is that when Colgate-Palmolive sent me to Brazil to be the controller, I had been the tax person at Hillsport for 15 years. I hadn't done really general accounting for ever since I got out of school. I was like, okay. And I got there and I found out the two largest plans Colgate had were reported to me. And I had done Costa County since Dr. Mazachek's class. So, lo and behold, I had my book from Dr. Mazachek's class with my notes still on how to do Costa County. And I studied that and I was able to not only learn but teach other people and led the whole subsidiary, which is a big subsidiary for the 5 years I was there. So you never know what you're learning today that you're going to need 25 years later. So don't throw away your books. Make sure that you have good notes of what you're learning in school. And don't be afraid of the challenges, right? If anybody had told me that life would bring you back to Washburn. I was in New York when the pandemic hit, and me and Tom didn't know how long this was going to take, right? I was in Brazil, and then I got the position to go to Revlon. We're also working for someone that used to be a Colgate, and then the pandemic continued. We moved away a little bit to New Jersey, because we used to be in New York City, and then we continued. We looked at each other and said, I think we're going to go home. So I called my boss and said, I'm moving back to Topeka, and then we'll see what happens, right? A year later, I'm still here, and guess what? I can do my job pretty good remotely. So it became permanently remote, so I don't have to move again. I'm actually building a house in land that I bought 13 years ago from someone that's actually here. And it's kind of nice to think about how anybody ever predict that, right? I'm going to be doing this great job, living in Topeka, Kansas, graduated from Washburn University, and still having the ability to work with amazing people, which is really what it's all about. You know, tax is great, but it's really the people you work with. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you so much for being part of my life and making this career such a rewarding journey, not just about the work, but about every day and all the interactions that we have. I'm really humbled by your presence and I appreciate your friendship. Thank you so much.